Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Michael Risk. Welcome to Expanding Capacity. Today, we're exploring the theme of squatting, and we're going to specifically hone in on the shoulder joint and its role in squatting. Not typically a joint that we really think about when we're squatting. We usually think more about our lower body. However, if you think about it, when we're squatting, we're almost always reaching as well. Okay, so we rarely squat like we do in a gym with the hands up or holding weights. We usually are reaching for something. So it's so important to understand. What we're going to do here is we're going to start with just a few breaths just to center ourselves. We're going to get up. We'll do a couple litmus tests. We want to see our squatting starting point. We're going to do some work through the shoulders and then come back and look at the squat to see how it helped us, if we're actually, in fact, moving better and how much our squatting limitations may be coming from our shoulders. We'll finish with a few breaths and we'll call it, we'll wrap that as a good week exploring squatting. All right, let's get to it. We'll start with 3 deep breaths. Good morning to everyone who's here. All right, let's get to it. So we're going to start with our posture scan. Feet about hip width apart, arms nice and relaxed, eyes closed. Hone into your shoulders. Do they feel more rounded, neutral, or chest out? Today, my shoulders are feeling neutral. I did just finish a grounding routine, so that makes sense. All right, now we're going to go through our squatting litmus test. You're just going to stay facing me. I'm going to slide to my right, which is going to be your left, because you're going to go to your left first for 5 repetitions. And we're just assessing the quality of this movement. Now, one thing that's really helpful is that when you're sliding your hips, sit weight into your heel. By sitting into the heel, you're ensuring motion's coming properly through the joint. Let's go to the right for 5. Okay, you might notice here if you're watching that I don't move as naturally to the right. Okay, but again, the priority is sitting into the heel and just exploring what can your body do and moving just to the edge, and you can trust in the process that it will expand over time. All right, so now let's go alternating sides. And now you can really see the difference for me. You're probably noticing some differences yourself. As you sit into that squat, you're going to be feeling your hip, your knee, and your ankle all bend at the same time. That's called the chain reaction. That's what we want in a squat. We want everything to move with everything else. Let's go one more here. Okay, perfect. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go through a rotational movement. So you're going to go hands on your hips. You're going to steer your hips to your left. Okay, I'll show you from the back first, and then I'll turn around just like so. Now, same deal. You can sit really heavy into the left heel as you go through the rotation. Just like that. Okay, now let's go to the right. And now when I try to rotate to the right and sit in the heel, I don't move as well to the right. So sliding, I didn't move well to the left, and twisting, I don't move well to the right. And this is why so many people have a hard time improving their comfort, is because we're not taught to move in 3D or assess our movement in 3D. That's exactly what we do at Expanding Capacity. Now we want to go into the sagittal plane. So we're going to start by placing one foot ahead of the other slightly. All right, I'm going to put my left foot ahead of my right to start. I want to start with 5 knee bends forward. So we're going to go 5, 4, and I'm really stress testing the back foot ankle. Let's call that 4 and 5. Now let's switch that over, actually. Let's go right foot ahead just a little bit. And let's bend for 5, 4. This way we get like a apples to apples comparison. 4 and 5. Okay, so now we're going to return back to the left foot forward. But instead of driving the knees forward, we're going to sit the hips back. We're still squatting. We're still bending our knees, but we're going to slide back. 4, 5. Okay, now we're going to switch that over. We're going to slide the hips back. And I can feel here I don't slide back as naturally. And just as a reminder, you should be sitting back into the back heel as you do this movement. 5. Okay, so that's our litmus test. That's our starting point. So we have our posture scan, our squat. Now we're going to move into our shoulder routine. It's going to be really simple. You're just going to need something to hold on to about shoulder height. Let's just say that's a door frame. All right, but anything in your environment will work. I'm just grabbing onto the edge of my whiteboard here. I'll give you a demo from the side first. So if I'm holding on and I always start on my left. If I'm holding on with my left, I'm just going to start by sliding my hips and squatting back, just like so. All right. And then when we get to the 10th one, we're going to pulse it. So I'm just going to switch my angle here a little bit. All right. And I want to sit straight back. So we're going to go for 10. Now, as we squat, it's really like the arms actually coming overhead. So the scapula is lifting. The scapula is your shoulder blade. All right. And you just move to the edge of where you feel that you can go naturally without forcing it. And I can promise you, it's just a scientific fact. With repetition, if you keep moving to the edge of what you can do, you will expand what you can do. But if you're if you have the more is better mentality or the bigger, faster, stronger, or no pain, no gain, hold this 10th one just nice and easy. We're going to pulse the hips. All right, so we come out of the squat just a little bit, and then we just sit back into it. I'm telling you, with the body, it's less is way more. My mind was completely transformed when I read The Sensitive Nervous System by Jim Butler. You don't have to force the body. It'll gladly do what you want it to do if you know how to ask. All right. And so we're asking our body to expand our capacity through gentle, focused movement that's focusing on specific joints. So now we go to the right. And now from here, what we're going to do is we're just going to slide back. Now I tore this rotator cuff. And if you're watching mine at all, which you really shouldn't be, aside from demo, I'm not going near as far here, but that's because my shoulder is protecting me. All right, but I'm using a squat, which is a whole body movement, to increase my shoulder function. So let's call that 7, 8, a couple more here, 9, one more, hold. Okay, now pulse, just gentle. This is one of the techniques that I teach members, or I share with members, to help them develop a sense of body awareness. Because if you think about it, we're getting 10 focused repetitions right at the edge of our capacity. And that really helps you understand what that feels like so you don't surpass it and get injured. 2, 1. Okay, that was in the sagittal plane. Now we're going to go in the frontal plane, which means side to side. All right, so what we're going to do here, I'm going to face my whiteboard. So you would face maybe your doorway, depending on where you're grabbing. You're going to reach across the body. Okay, so my palm is facing my whiteboard, just grabbing onto the edge here. And now from this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide my hips to the left. Okay, so the left hand's reaching across the body to the right, and I'm sliding my hips to the left. And this just is a great, if you spend a lot of time at a desk, this is a great way to actually restore your posture at the end of the day. A lot of times people think that we have to open up in order to restore our posture, but it's actually by stimulating our back core, what we're doing right now. When we stimulate the muscles on the back side of the core, they lift us up. You'll notice after this, you'll probably feel much taller. Okay, hold that. Now we're just going to pulse. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and 1. Okay, now we're going to switch that over. I'm not expecting as much motion here. Again, this is my injured shoulder. So, yeah, and much more limited range here. However, I still have a threshold. And as long as I know how to find that threshold, it's going to expand. One of our members loves when I call these exercises baby range. Just moving your baby range. It can feel like you're not doing much of anything. But the cool thing is, as soon as you get a joint to move, all the tissues are firing. Yes, they do fire more intensely the deeper you get into a range, but range is something we earn over time. It's just like a savings account. You don't just have money appear in a bank. You work and you save, and over time, like pocket change, right? It just all adds up. All right, let's go one more here. Hold that. All right, now just gentle pulse. 9. Think of the pulsing as like a request rather than a demand from the body. I'll call that 8, 9, and 10. Okay. So in this last round now, we're going to go into the rotational plane, which actually is where most injuries occur, is in that plane of motion because it's the least conditioned. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back holding the left hand. Right now you can just be, the hand's just going to be, palm's going to be straight. I'll just give you a quick demo from the side. What you're going to do is you're just going to squat and twist just like that. Okay, so you're going to twist toward the holding arm. So I'll have the left hand grab. And what I like to do with this one is also just look my eyes around the corner. I get my whole body moving in the direction that I want. This feels really good. And one cool thing to think about, people will often ask like, oh, well, what is this exercise working on? And there's a little phrase that I found very helpful. Whatever's lengthening is strengthening. Okay, so think about it. The back of our shoulders are lengthening. Our glutes are lengthening, the outside of our calves. Hold this position now. Ready? 10, 9, 8, 7. Our core is lengthening. All right, we have the pelvis sliding with the ribs relatively fixed by holding with the hand. So we're getting good core strength here. 9, 10. Okay, and a word on that with core strength, we often think that we have to do something that's really focused through the core, but the core functions much more naturally when you integrate it into whole body movement. That's how it functions best. So we're going to go right hand holding here. And now from this position, we're going to squat. We're going to rotate to the right. Now I don't feel quite as much motion here, to be expected. But in order to really find your threshold and be able to work at it, which is what gets your capacity to expand most effectively and efficiently, you have to be really aware of what's happening in your body. And I think in workouts, a lot of people try to check out. And it requires us to stay present. Hold. Okay, so ready for 10, 9, 8. Nice and easy. Your body's so happy right now because you're not forcing it. Couple more, 9 and 10. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to go through our litmus test. Proof's in the pudding, right? We need this short feedback loop to see if what we're doing is actually working and helping us move toward a more productive quality of life. So we're going to start hands on hips. Okay, we'll start by you sliding your hips to the left. I'm going to the right. Now this is the side that felt better for me. But what I will say is it feels more springy now. So it almost feels like when I drop down, it's like I'm sitting into a trampoline and it's pushing me back up. Now we're going to go the other way. Now this was the side that was more limited for me, and it's still less than the other side, but it's better than it was. And I'll take it for a short routine, maybe 5 or so minutes. And again, it's like pocket change. It's just all adds up. And then you end up finding that you're in the body that you want, and you never had to really force anything. All right, let's just go a couple alternating sides here. Nice and easy. Doesn't have to be fast, hard, or painful to be productive and effective. That's a massive paradigm shift for a lot of people. And let's go one more here. This just feels really good. Okay, and now let's go through the rotational. All right, so you're going to rotate your hips to your left. Remember to set a little bit of pressure in the heel as you do that. Okay, when you sit in the heel, that's like an anchor, and that's actually going to stimulate your glutes, your IT band, around your calves. And this is really a great way also to strengthen your arch. Okay, let's go the other way. And I didn't even notice that that was my more limited side, and it felt really good. 4, 5. Okay, now let's alternate. So we go sit in the heel. Okay, so you're going to sit in your left heel, in your right heel. Left heel, right heel. Left, right. One more here. Left, right. Okay, if you're feeling any pain or discomfort, you're going past your threshold. Your body's giving you signals, you're just not picking up on them yet. That's what body awareness is about. So now we go with the left foot forward. We're going to drive the knees forward. Now remember, this is just one foot, about a half foot length ahead of the other. 3, 4, one more here, 5, and then we're going to switch that over. Okay, we're going to go 2, 3. This feels great. 4, felt a little limit on that left side earlier. 5. Okay, now I'm going to switch that. All right, so any of the freedom that we're driving the hips back, make sure to sit in the back heel. Okay, so as I sit back, I'm heavy in my right heel. Don't force the range. Just sit down and back. Let's go one more here. All right, and then we're going to switch that over, right foot ahead. Same deal, sitting in the heel. This was my limited side. It's still limited, but that's okay because that's just feedback. It's telling me that I need to spend more time in this specific pattern. And then, I'll start exploring my feet in this pattern, my hips in this pattern. We have to be able to hone in on the thing that's holding us back. And it's usually not what you think it is. Where you feel the stiffness is not usually why the stiffness exists. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. The couple things that I want you to know that are the most important is, number one, when you notice capacity differences, meaning you have greater range of motion on one side versus the other, right? When you run out of, let's just say the side that has less range of motion, if it has less motion, it's because it has less control, less stability at the joint. So the goal is not to try to force new mobility through intense stretching. The goal is to put yourself in a stable environment, load the joint, create the stability, and then the mobility will return and reveal itself back to you. So you always want to focus on the low capacity joint to expand the capacity because that's what reduces pain. The best way to reduce pain is to expand capacity. That does not come through intense stretching, and capacity imbalances are the root cause of stiffness, pain, and discomfort. That's number one. Number two, I love my community. I'm really committed to my members, helping them to move and feel better. So right now, as our members get to hop on with me, we're going to go into a call. And we're going to do a bit of a check-in. I'm going to help them see which parts of their body maybe that feel stuck or limited. I'm going to help them to expand their capacity in those areas to help them, clear any of the blocks that might be inhibiting them. Okay, that sounds like a lot. I hope you make it a wonderful day, and I'll see you back next week. And I think we're doing lunging, if I'm not mistaken. Could be looking or reaching. But I will see you next week. Cheers.